Hello, it is day 6, Zato, of Poemvember 2022. Today's poet inspirer is Ross Gay, and I'll be reading his poem, um, Poem to My Child, If Ever You Shall Be, before I offer 3 prompts and then a revision prompt. But I would prefer you to hear his poem from his own voice. So you'll see in the description a link to a video created by Jagjaguwar with music, like beautiful music and Raskay's voice and interesting animation. So I would prefer you to go there before listening to the prompts because it is such a cool video, and the music really does intensify what is already an extremely personable, emotionally feeling performance by Raskay as he reads his own poem. Okay, so go there, pause this video, go there, come back, and you'll see the 3 prompts and the revision prompt for day 6. But for those of you who would prefer to hear me read his poem, that is a personal choice that I respect and will honor. And here I go. I think it's also important to point out that this poem is written after Steve Scafidi, another incredible poet, who often addresses the reader like Ross does in much of his poetry, that has that really interesting effect of bringing us back in and making it even more clear that the poem is for the reader as it is for the writer, as it is for everyone. So look up Steve Scafidi. I think I'm saying his name right, but incredible poet. Yes. Okay. Poem to my child, if ever you shall be. The way the universe sat, waiting to become, quietly, in the nether of space and time, you too remain some cellular snuggle, dangling between my legs, curled in the warm swim of my mostly quietest self. If you come to be, and who knows, I wonder, little bubble of unbudded capillaries, little one ever a swirl in my vascular galaxies, what would you think of this world that turns itself steadily into an oblivion that hurts and hurts bad? Would you curse me my careless caressing you into this world, and would you rise up and, mustering all of your strength into that tiny throat that one day, no doubt, would grow big and strong, scream and scream and scream until you break the back of one injustice, or at least get to your knees to kiss back to life some roadkill? I have so many questions for you are closer to me than anyone has ever been, tumbling as you are this second through my heart's every chamber, your teeny mouth singing along with the half-broke workhorse's steady boom and gasp. And since we're talking today, I should tell you, though I know you sneak a peek sometimes through your father's eyes, it is a glorious day, and there are millions of leaves collecting against the curbs, and there the most delicate shade of gold we've ever seen, and must favor the transparent wings of the angels you're swimming with, little angel. And as to your mother, well, I don't know. But my guess is that lilac bursts from her throat, and she is both honeybee and wasp, and some kind of moan to boot. And probably she dances in the morning, but who knows? You'll swim beneath the bridge, that bridge, if it comes. And for now, let me tell you about the bush called honeysuckle that they said that the sad call a weed, and how you could push your little sun-licked face into the throngs and breathe and breathe. Sweetness would be your name, and you would wonder why 4 of your teeth are so sharp and the tiny mountain range of your knuckles so hard. And you would throw back your head and open your mouth at the cows, lowing human songs in the field, and the pigs swimming in shit and clover, and everything on this earth, little dreamer of the new world, holy Every raindrop and sand grain and blade of grass worthy of love and love and love. Tiny shaman, tiny blood thrust, tiny trillion cells trilling and trilling, little dreamer, little hard hat, little heartbeat, little best of me. And I don't think I said before, but this is from Bringing the Shovel Down, Ruske's, I believe it's his first collection, potentially, 2011, beautiful collection, beautiful poem. Okay, so prompt number 1 is one of those like procedural kind of prompts. So step 1 is to open the YouTube video by Jagjaguwar and listen to Roske read his poem, Home to My Child If Ever You Shall Be, at least 3 times. You may want to click the loop button so it does that automatically. Step 1. Step 2 is to choose one or several YouTube videos at random. And while listening to Roske read this poem at least 3 times, I'd like you to read through the comment section and gather language that feels true to or like it is describing your current mood. Whether your mood is influenced by Roske's voice and the music, or whether you're in a pretty potent mood already while you're doing this. So gather the language and then collage it together in a way that you can then start crafting a poem. And I'd like you to consider, how does the found language or the collaged language from the comment sections build a landscape that feels true to you? This poem prompt is inspired by my friend Jenna, who told me that she found such beautiful humanity in the comment section on YouTube, especially under videos that are like music videos or like self-improvement videos or that kind of thing. Obviously, I think there's some comment section on YouTube that have some less humane activity, but I encourage you to find videos that have that energy that Roske's poem builds. Prompt number 2 is to consider Roske's poem, Home to My Child If Ever You Shall Be, as a letter to the most important person to him, even though they don't exist yet. So I'd like you to reread the poem or re-listen to the poem and find in it the structure of a letter or an epistolary address. Your second prompt option is to select someone who you do not get to speak with freely, whether this is someone who's far from you, out of contact, someone you don't speak to anymore, or someone who does not yet exist or may never exist. And then I would like you to address them in a poem as if they were the most intimate with you. Okay, here's prompt number 3. For me, this poem by Roske pulls out something so specific in me that I don't often have words for. And I don't think that I have a clear sense of exploring as I am a person right now. Though I'm hoping that I can design myself to be more generous or to speak for humanity, like Roske seems to speak so naturally. So I'd like you to consider what it means to be a vessel for humanity or a vessel for expressing like pureness, like pure joy, pure adoration through the lens of potential maybe, or other ways of considering your existence as a microcosm of the macrocosm of the universe and its miracles. To get that down and a little more grounded, I'd like you to view this last prompt as a challenge to write a poem as if you were speaking into existence the intensities of hope, of joy, and of potential. This prompt asks you to consider yourself as the sweetness that Ross writes about. How would you speak to or about yourself if you believed in your sweetness? As if you are, as Roske writes, worthy of gasp and joy and love. So maybe that is not the most tangible prompt, but that's okay, because you are worthy of love and joy and gasp and everything that Roske has ever said. Okay, so our last prompt is a revision prompt. I'd like you to take a previously written poem or written something and select someone to whom you are addressing and revise this poem as if it is an address to that person. And take careful consideration of how the language changes, how the tone changes, and how the purpose of the poem changes when you do this. Okay, so I did not do this up front either, but maybe I'll remember for the next video. My dog is eating his butt, so you're welcome, and I'm sorry, and everything is beautiful. But I'm KP Kajabowski. I am a poet, a filmmaker, and a theater maker, and also the guide of the Labyrinth, which is a new and building, growing resource library for writers who want to build up their practice of language and writing, not merely to get the word count in every day, but to get into that habit of coming back to oneself on the daily or the weekly, and unearth what's already inside of you. I truly believe that there's a lot of violence in this world, and I truly believe that if all of us took the time to unearth the violence that we have been ingesting and processing in our bodies through language and through putting it on the page and really, really considering what is happening inside of us, that we would have a much more just and peaceful world around us. So I feel called to write prompts as ways to get us more in touch with the way that we construct our thoughts and our language. And the language that we use is a mirror of how we speak to ourselves when no one else is around in our mind. So that is my little maybe spiel. Sooner, maybe, I will talk about why the labyrinth is called the labyrinth, and I will present what I believe to be true about the writing process, that it is a labyrinth, and the same way that you go in is the same way you come out. Okay, so preview for tomorrow's poet of inspiration is Chelsea Tedeschi, a Midwestern poet whose work has dazzled me for years. Maybe I say this every video, but Chelsea's writing is brilliant. There's such precise rendering, but the air between the thoughts or the leaps between the thoughts offer the reader so much time, not so much time, offer the reader the chance to make their own inferences and then get surprised by what Chelsea writes next in her poems. And I'm really, really looking forward to the poem I selected for tomorrow, because that's a really great example of what I'm talking about. So if that didn't make sense, tomorrow I hope it will. And then after that, November 8th, which Chelsea, November 8th's writer, will be representing the eclipse for us, because I think it happens on one day for the West Coast and another day for the East Coast, potentially. But November 8th is Frank O'Hara, who I consider my first date poet. And I'll explain what that means in that video. Okay, have a really good day. And and if you want to share your poem that you wrote, whether it is actually on November 6, 2022, or 3 years from now, please message me to get access to our Discord group. It's a private Discord group, and you can share in the love and read each other's work and give comments and see how lovely it is to write in community, even though we're not all in the same physical space. Okay, bye. You are cute. You are beautiful. And I like you. And my dog is still eating his ass. He's also very cute. So that's fine, you know?